Okay, so I'll let you get started, and let's see. So I'll give you a smiley face at 1 minute.
Okay.
So take it away, and I'll get out of your way here.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, well, welcome everybody, and thanks for this opportunity. Today, I'm just going to present something that is not new for teachers, but it's something that I've been working with for almost 6 or 7 years, and is a help tool for me with my students and to develop my classes with my students, and I'm sharing some of these techniques with my colleagues too. And today, I will talk about developing thinking skills in the 21st century, and that involves about teachers and students. Well, I would like to start the same as my colleagues with a question, and it's a question that my students always ask in class, and they say, "Teacher, when did you start thinking in English? When did you start forgetting about the translation?" And they say, "Okay." Or another question that they say, "Do you really have to travel abroad or live in another country to learn English?" And my answer, a way of just to say yes or no, but the idea is to provide the students a meaningful activity so they can understand that they don't have to really need to travel abroad to understand or to learn another language. And looking into a classroom, we can have these two different classrooms. Which one do you like to have? The one that is on your left or the one that is on your right? And the idea would be to have all the students participating and motivated to learn English. And as Luis was saying before, if you are happy in class, the teacher will feel that and they will be really happy to learn and they will be really happy to participate. Today, I'm not going to show you something new, but I would like to talk about three different aspects. That means that something is wrong, something you need to do. Probably the tools, the strategies, or the activities that you are doing in your class are not working really good. So some solutions could be to work with some problem solving, reader's theater, and project-based learning. Project-based learning was talking Vicky, the first presenter. She was explaining something about project. Reader's theater was talking Vicky too. And about problem solving, I would like to explain a little bit more. And this is something that I like to do, for example, in my classes. And using pictures, reader, short parts of paragraphs of reading, listening, or watching or observing videos, I challenge my students to resolve problems. And there you go, you have a picture here where I always like to present to my students, say, okay, what's going on in the picture? Who's having a problem? Is there a problem there or something is wrong? And the students start participating. I motivate students given participation in class. Kids, adults, or young adults, they love to be challenged, they love to compete. And so they like to participate and give participation in class. So you can use pictures, images, readers, short parts, stories, short stories, listenings, videos from YouTube or from another resources that you can find or choose in the internet for the students to solve different kind of problems or challenge your students to face problems that they face every day in their lives so they can work in a meaningful activities. Or another thing that you can do is, for example, use sequences for the students to talk, to participate, to write. I am motivating right now my students through sequences to create stories, writing or talking. And some of the evaluations that I do right now is using the sequences, the students have to talk, have to participate, have to increase their level of participation in class. The first day you introduce always rules for the class. Why not to give like an example of this, and the students, they will understand what are the rules of the class and they can create the rules of the class. So you are not saying no cell phones, no dictionaries, but then through these images, through these pictures, they can understand what are the rules of the class and they can agree on that. Reader's theaters. Vicky explained excellent about what the reader's theater participation in the class. And I would just like to say that this is a really fun activity where the students get motivated and they feel confident to talk. What I do with my students is, for example, they have to choose, I choose a literature or a small rhythm or rhyme or some story or a reader book where the students, they have to read and then they have to participate, given a short or brief summary about the story. Or I'm using another technique with this, which is Pecha Kucha, where the students have to, in 20 slides, 20 seconds per slide, they have to present what they read or what they understood about the story. Or you can do some activities where the students have to read and then they have to act. One student is reading, the other ones are acting, or the same student is reading, is acting, and presenting the book. So the idea would be to have fun activities where the students, they feel motivated to participate in class and to talk. What else do I have to say about project-based learning? Well, project-based learning, Vicky explained about what's the difference between project-based learning and projects. I use project-based learning in my class. All my students work on projects that I choose the projects, but they have to collaboratively, they have to work. They have to give their own hypotheses, they have to choose their partners, they have to conclusions, they have to try to find some rules to work in the project, which one takes the role of the group, and then they have to verify it. And as Vicky said at the beginning of these presentations, you have to give a product, a final product, and that final product is the presentation or also presentation or a video or something that it will help to have the evidence about their work. These are some images that I would like to present, or pictures about my students. These are my last students that they presented some projects talking about culture or preventing the destruction of the environment, or they were promoting about recycling, or they were doing some readers theater, or they were presenting in front of the class. Something that we all as teachers face in classes is that students are not motivated to talk. So what I used to do is to take my students in front of another student's class, or to ask a colleague to let me present their projects, or do like a short open house inside of my class, where all the students can visit and they can observe my students' participation. That motivates the students to do something better. Why not to combine these old 21st century skills or tools and create new activities for our students in class? Meaningful activities, avoid the L1 in class, picture vocabulary presentations, avoid the repetitions, and create things in class. For example, this picture is to present a new vocabulary about animals, and I challenge you to find at least 15 animals in this picture. And the students feel motivated, they wake up, they want to participate, they participate, and that's the idea for teachers in the students' class. What kind of activities we can do? We can compare, we can categorize, we can do sequences, focusing attention in the students, knowing the teacher, reducing talking time, teachers talking time in class, memorizing. We can do exploring space, exploring time, exploring numbers of students. Why not use math in an English class? So the students to learn numbers by doing math exercises, analyzing cause and effects of different aspects, making decisions, that's the most important thing, and resolve problems. The students love to be challenged, as I said at the beginning of my presentation, and that's what you have to create in class. Use the material that you have to use. Use your book, use your material, create your own material, but you can use your books as just framework and then do meaningful activities with the students in class so they can improve their language. It's not only that the language acquisition is how Krashen says, or how the affordance of the language, that is the new theory of the young Lasser Freeman, or talking about top-down and bottom-up activities like Jack Richards. It's not only that, it's how you use that those theories, those methodologies, those strategies to implement your own activities in class. First thing that you have to do, and that's one of my conclusions, you have to think out of the box. Believe that always you as teacher, you have to evaluate yourself and you have to create new and good activities all the time. Don't believe that your students can't do something. They always can do things. You have to combine about different thinking skills inside of the class. You can talk and participate and read and and do all the fun activities. That is clearly the objective that you want to achieve. If you want to create in your students, you want to achieve your students to be an excellent translators, or you can do it. If you want to repeat everything that they hear, do that. But if you want them to think in English or to express in English, you have to create that environment. Do not get stuck. Think creatively. Always one activity or one lesson plan that you applied in a class, you can always do it better and you can challenge yourself. And be able to evaluate your actions. That's it. Film your classes and give your own peer observation and make your comments. Thank you very much, Robert. Rob, I'm sorry, that was it. I hope I give a little tips about something that I do in my class and I implement every day, but some of my colleagues did better than me, but I just want to give these conclusions to my colleagues.
No, it's great, and I really appreciate it. I have to ask you, though, are you at the university now?
I am at the university right now.
I recognize the beeping.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm getting used to that. I don't even recognize that sound anymore.
I feel like I'm home in Guayaquil again, you know?
You know that this is your home, and I know that you like Ecuador, so I'm very happy and pleased to have you here in June. Or if you want to come earlier, we always can have any project for you to come here.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to being together again, okay?
Excellent, brother. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much.